Okay, so we are going to do a bit of relaxation. And if we are lucky, we might meditate as well. So in the beginning, just take some time to really sit in a way that's comfortable, that you can relax into the way you are sitting for about 20 minutes. So during this time, really you don't have anywhere to go, anything to do. Just enjoy being here, having nothing to do. All the things that you have to do, it's okay. You can pick them up later on. During this time, we are just going to have some time, my time to do nothing, just to be here. It's rare for people to really, just sit, do nothing, not thinking, not worrying, enjoying being here. And for the lucky people who are in the room here, it's a very peaceful vihara here. Even though it is in the middle of the suburbs, even if you can hear a little bit of traffic, still there's a lot of peace in this room. See whether you can become aware of that peace. You allow sounds to be. It's not a problem, it's okay. So as you came here, or as you came back after work, it's like your whole mind and body was shaking, very busy, just like that glass of water which Ajahn Brahm often has. It's constantly shaking up and down, this way, that way. Now is the time just to keep that glass of water on the table and allow it to just settle by itself. Our body and mind is also like a body of water. So have that perception of it gently slowing down, settling down, and relaxing. I often like to ground myself to here and now by the touch sensations. Like if I'm touching my thighs with my palms, that, or my feet touching the ground, or your bottom touching the seat. Wherever there is some touch sensation, you can also use that to ground yourself to here. The idea of meditation is, instead of giving attention to your thoughts and thinking, we just leave that and let it go and bring attention to a physical sensation. You ground yourself into the body and allow the body to rest and relax. See whether you can bring up a smile. And you can see with a smile, everything relaxes even more. A bit of joy comes up. And that's helpful. And this face relaxes more when you smile. In this room, I can feel a very gentle breeze on my body. That's making me very happy and relaxed. For the outside world, it's a busy time. People are rushing home. People are cooking dinner. Even the birds are trying to have their last meal. That's why they're excited and a bit noisy. But we can just allow all of that to fade away and give attention to the feelings in your body and deeply relax into this moment. And as your mindfulness is starting to increase, because you're not thinking about anything, rather, your mind is quite silent and very alert into here and now. You might notice the breaths naturally going in and naturally going out. It's a very tranquilizing and delightful feeling to be with the breaths. Even from the time that we have been inside our mother's tummy, we're very familiar with our breath. It's very soothing. It's very comforting. So if you wish, you can also just become aware of the breath that is naturally coming in, naturally going out, and just stay with that. Anytime if your mind is running into the future or into the past, you can gently bring it back and ground it, either with your touch sensations or bring it back to the breath. A relaxed body and a relaxed mind is delightful. See whether you can notice a bit of delight coming up as you're resting, as you're allowing the world to fade away, and just enjoying being here. Nothing to do, nowhere to go. Just happy to be here. As we are coming close to the end of this very short meditation, take a few moments to see how you feel now. Do you feel rested? Do you feel a bit relaxed? Did any joy start to bubble up? Or was your mind completely restless? Never mind. Just see what happened. So you learn from every sit what worked and what didn't. So I invite you to take 3 long, deep breaths very mindfully. And at the end of the last one, you can open your eyes and get ready for the Dhamma talk. Okay. So there is. Okay, there's a question. How to practice when you have depression? That goes very well with the other topic as well. Because depression and having pressure and stress in life are quite related, right? Yeah, yeah, because they're all down states. Depressed means down, right? It's the mind is in a down state when we have stress, when we have pressure, when we have negative emotions. All of those things, the mind is down. Whether we call actual clinically diagnosed depression or not, all of us experience these kind of depressed mind states in day-to-day life. So the idea of this practice is to actually elevate our mind, uplift up our mind, opposite of depression. Yeah, and when the mind is up, it feels good, isn't it? Right now, how do you feel? Is it flat, down, or a little up? A little, yeah. At least, rested a little bit. If you rested a little bit, not doing anything, at least it's at least relaxed a little bit, yeah? So, how do you uplift your mind? The thing with the mind is very quick to change. Do you know that? Have you noticed that? How quickly the mind can change from one emotion to the other with the flip of a, very, very quickly it can change. Not like the body. Like if you have a headache, you can just change it. If you have a tummy ache or if you're tired, you have to allow a bit more time. But when it comes to the mind, it's not quite the same. I can tell you a funny story and then you'll be all laughing. I can be telling you an inspiring story and your mind will just get lifted up. Yeah, something that inspires you, something that brings you joy, something that you can rejoice in. You can see how quickly your mind will lift up. Or I can tell you some terrible things that has been happening and all the difficulties and problems and things that might happen to us. And it goes down, isn't it? It's really quick. But why is it? Is it that most of the day our mind is down, flat, or up? I feel for most people it's either flat or down. No, up states maybe not common. But it is possible to have flat and up more than flat and down. But that is a training. It's a habit because mind is also work with habit. It's conditionally arisen. Everything is conditioned. How we think, what we do, everything is just conditioned from the past or whatever is lined up in our day. So, and very often it is conditioned by habit. So like if you even walking on the streets or at the shopping mall, what kind of faces do you mostly see? People laughing and smiling, or long faces and sad faces, or troubled faces, or angry faces? What's more? For me, I hardly see people laughing and smiling. There are people, it's not all they're not doing, but most people just have a long face. But if you talk to them, there's nothing wrong with their life. It's just a habit. How you keep your face is a bit neutral, but it is not kind of neutral even. It looks like you have, some warrior or something like this. It's a habit. So we can train it to uplift. Like, did you smile when I asked you to smile during the meditation? Can you give me a smile now? How do you feel even if you fake a smile? Nice, isn't it? It just gives some energy to our mind. So even if you fake a smile and make that a habit, when you're smiling, there is a kind of a lift, but also it gives a lift to everybody else around you. Because that's the other thing. If you see smiling people around, you also end up smiling more. That's why we like hanging around people like Ajahn Brahm, right? He's smiling and cracking jokes. So there's no time for us to become down and depressed and sad. Because you see somebody else smiling, you naturally smile. So it's a nice gift that we can give as well. So when we smile, people around us, it's a nice gift that it reminds us. Why I'm talking about this is all these stresses and all of that is easy to feel, and there are a lot more when the mind is down. But all those things that you have to do, the deadlines and everything will be there, but they will be much more bearable when there's joy in the mind. I'm sure you know this, yeah? There are days that for whatever reason, maybe your football club won or you got a gift or something else nice happened in your life and you're naturally very happy that day. So there are days like that. No, every day is not like we are really down and depressed. There are days that we are naturally very happy. Things are going well in our life. And even then there are difficulties come up, challenges come up. But those days when the challenge came up, it was nothing. You can bear with it, you can deal with it, no problem. But there are other days that you are quite down, quite, your mind is not in a good state, you're tired, mind is depressed. Even the smallest thing is so difficult, so hard, so problematic. It really weighs you down and it's hard, right? So this is important to notice. So therefore, it's not at the time that you do the work. It's already a bit too late, right? So you have to start seeing these patterns, know the workings of your mind, and then prepare ahead of time. Like from the moment you wake up, you build up your mind, you guide your mind, you train your mind instead of first thing thinking about all the things that you have to do today. It's about the thinking about things is what weighs us down. Doing things is not actually that difficult. There's a really beautiful story from Ajahn Brahm when he was a young monk. They were doing all this manual labor work and they were moving some soil in wheelbarrows. Do you know this story? Yeah, in wheelbarrows, he was moving all this. All the monks were really working very hard because Ajahn Chah asked, there was a heap of soil and he asked them to move to one side. So they worked really hard and they moved everything. But Ajahn Chah has gone out by that time. And Ajahn Liam was the second monk in charge. He came and said, why did you move it there? That's not where it should be. It should go to the other place. So move it. So all the monks had to move the whole pile into another spot. And then in the evening, Ajahn Chah came and he said, "That's not what I asked. I wanted it to be there. Why did you move it back?" At that time, even Ajahn Brahm, who's a very nice, kind, quite easygoing monk, got quite upset, really quite upset. And he was thinking, oh my goodness, why can't the senior monks make up their mind? Can't they realize it's so hard work? It's easy for them to tell us. We have been working all day with just eating rice and frog, nothing else, you know. And it's crazy as well, right? Because it's not fun doing all that work and moving back and forth. So another monk, a Thai monk, who was nearby, saw Ajahn Brahm's face. Sometimes you can tell, right, what somebody's thinking by looking at their face. And they're almost swearing inside. And this monk just gently told Ajahn Brahm, doing is nothing. It's thinking about it is the hard part. Thinking about it is difficult, but doing is not that hard. So at that time, you just, instead of thinking and worrying about it, just do it. So this is sometimes our life as well. Sometimes when we wake up and think all the things that I have to do, how difficult they are and all of those things, that weighs us down so much so that you can't even get started for some people. I see this after they think about it, they give up. Yeah, but if you don't do so much, don't worry. You do one at a time. Whatever is in front of you, you do it. Put it aside. Do the next thing. Put it aside and see how much you can get done. Never mind. So this is one. So not to think too much about things. Rather just do it. The next very important thing is our conditioning to do things perfectly. Why? Our sense of self. You can't allow anybody to tell anything, find fault with anything. I've done it completely well. That gives us a lot of stress. Are you human or are you a robot? Even a robot, is programmed by humans who has errors. So robots can also make mistakes. So human beings make mistakes. So again, another very beautiful advice that Ajahn Brahm gave me that saved me. I think I'm still a monastic because of that. I don't know whether some of you may know that I was the building project manager for the main monastery complex at our monastery in Western Australia. It's a huge project. It was a $7 million project. So you can imagine what kind of work that is, and multiple buildings are going up. And different buildings are at different stage. One, the bricks happening, the other one, or the roofing is happening, the other one, the next. So they move from one to the other. So all these things are simultaneously happening. There's so many tradespeople. And building sites and how people are like, and people do make mistakes. They don't want to lose money. So the loudest person wins it, the one who can't talk, they lose the money. Yeah. So this is how it's like. So at the very start of the project, the first thing was to pour the foundation for our accommodation pod. That was the first building that got started. And by the way, I don't know anything about building. I was either stupid or very brave or highly compassionate. I don't know. I just put my hand up and said, I'll help. I was very confident. But I don't know anything much about stuff. So the little I read and learned, I learned that it's not good to pour concrete on a hot day because it might crack. So the first pour was going to happen on a day that's going to be above 40 degrees. So I was trying to plead with the builder, please don't pour our slab tomorrow. Wait till a cool day. We are not in a hurry. But of course, the builders can't wait. They have to get it done. They were pushing it. So I was so stressed. And for me, the foundation of the building is so important because it's like the Dhamma. We always talk about foundations having to be well, otherwise the whole building comes down. So I was thinking and stressing out, thinking all this donation money is going to get wasted. The building's going to be really bad and it's going to crack and it's going to be terrible. And I was crying. I was literally worried. I called Ajahn. And I was crying on the phone, saying, I'm so worried. And he was actually in Singapore. And he spoke to me for about 45 minutes. And he said, Venerable, you know, don't worry. You are working with human beings. So human beings will make mistakes. In the course of this building project, many mistakes will happen. It's unavoidable. Lots of money will be lost. That is also going to be unavoidable because we are all human. You're working with human. So if you're trying to stress about it, that's not going to be helpful. He said, I'd rather lose money than lose a monastic. Because if I stress too much, I'll end up destroyed. Right? So he said, don't worry. I mean, if it cracks, if the building falls down, we'll rebuild again, no problem. That's all right. You know, with some things, it's probably not the case, but there are many things in life that we stress so much about. No big deal. Doesn't have to be completely perfect. We can work with it if something happens. You work with it. You do something else, you build, gives. And he was telling, yeah, if you lose and everything, it gives more people the opportunity to give and done and build up. It's a different way, yeah. More people have opportunity to come and contribute. There's more room for creativity. There's always something to look at. And it was so true. And after that, I really took into heart. After that, the building project, the whole project, I actually did not have any stress. I really enjoyed it. Many things went wrong, but we used it in creative ways. Sometimes people come and say, oh, that staircase, that looks really nice like that. Well, that was a mistake. And then we sort of did some creative work to make it work. Same with our dining hall. We had to put some columns up. And people say, what beautiful feature that is. So all these beautiful features are results of mistakes. So sometimes this is how life is. Yeah. So in our life too, it's all right for things to go wrong. It's all right for us to fail. That's what makes us stronger. If every time everything worked perfectly, we are not going to become very strong people because sometimes it's going to fail. And at that time, we are going to be completely lost. Yes, and also being a scientist, this is how it was. There is also some saying called sometimes the first time luck for scientists. Sometimes you do the experiment, it even a very difficult one, it all goes so well and you think, oh, it's easy to do. And at a time that you are have a lot of pressure and you have little time and trying to do it, everything goes wrong. But sometimes if it went wrong at the time that when you're training, then you really learn how to troubleshoot and you become an expert. You know how to do it really well and you can help other people. So, there's so many ways to look at our life and the things that we have to do. So you welcome things going wrong. You welcome failures because you can't buy them. You can't pay and buy them. But that makes you strong. That teach you many things that you would have not learned otherwise. Yeah. So this is the thing. So our problem, why we stress and we have pressure, is that worry of failing, worry of things going wrong, not being able to make the deadline. So either you're going to make it or you're not. Worrying about it only going to make the not making it more, giving more chances. But if you just stop the worry and do what you can, you'll get it done. And the second thing is what is perfect for you. I have done many times perfect things and got criticized like anything. People find fault with your perfect thing. And it's so depressing then. Yeah, you've tried and done this amazing thing. It's not good enough for other people. So again, being perfect is relative. So don't worry about it. Yeah, there's no such thing as perfect. Good enough, 70%. Yeah, that's what Ajahn Brahm says. Aim at about 70%. That's a good area too. So you That's a good way, you do it fairly well and leave it. So you also know it's 70%, so people criticize you, no, it's not 100%, so fine. And you deliberately did it like that, so never mind. So that also helps to keep the stress down. Does it make sense? Yeah. This is really important, the attitude and the approach that we have for things. And another reason that I have noticed in my life that why I have stresses with things is when I have to do things that I don't like. Do we have the same problem? There are many things sometimes we have to do these things and you really don't like them and they seem then so difficult. And then it's a stress, it's a problem because it's a struggle. You won't believe this, but even for me, I hated washing clothes, dealing with clothes. I don't know about you. I didn't like it. I was thinking it would be wonderful if we had disposable clothes. Yeah, never to have to wash and iron and hang clothes and deal with clothes. But I realized, well, all my life I will have to, even as a monastic, still we have to wash our robes. We have much less pieces compared to before, but still, you sweat and you get dirty. So you have to wash. It's nothing something that I can escape from life. So I realized, okay, I'm going to enjoy this process. This was when I was a uni student. And I remember one day I realized, okay, I'm going to enjoy hanging. I'm going to be creative. So I got all the pegs color coded, all the clothes nicely going in rainbow design into the hanging lines. So make it fun and, shake them and hang them really nicely, really perfectly, fully there, hanging my clothes. And I blissed out. I wasn't meditating. I was not a meditator. So it's not like a bliss out as in deep meditation. But for a uni student's life, we have 100 million things going on all at the same time, that kind of mind. Suddenly I have just stopped because I was focusing really nicely and really enjoying hanging my clothes. It was a nice day, it was sunny and the breeze was coming. So I was enjoying all of that. Before I hated, why do I have to waste my time hanging clothes? I could do better things. But this time, because I told myself I'm going to enjoy this time, and it was a stress-free job compared to everything else I had to do, right? Hanging my clothes. It's a very simple, no stress job. So during that, whatever 5-10 minutes, because I just stopped everything and I was only with my movements and enjoying that, my mind actually became very peaceful and I experienced bliss and it was really nice. And from that day onward, I really like hanging clothes. Even to this day, in the monastery, whenever I see other people, I go and help them to hang clothes. And it's really nice because I realize many people don't like dealing with clothes, tea towels, and things like that. So very often when I see it's somebody else's duty to deal with the tea towels or the mats and things like that, I go and do it because I enjoy it, and then I also enjoy folding them really nicely. Because yes, it takes time, but it's a very meditative kind of job, and when you change your attitude towards it and do it nicely, it gives you satisfaction once you see the perfectly nicely folded tea towels. Makes you feel nice. So when cleaning the toilets or cleaning the kitchen, I find delight in these kinds of stuff, things that are usually seen as chores and boring and difficult and tiring. Why do I have to do? And then all builds up into the stress because you have many other things to do. But if you use that time of physical work as a gift that you give to your family, because when you do it, the others don't have to do it. And when you can enjoy it and do it nicely, it actually has a really nice, satisfying feeling. So while it is a job that you're doing, it actually brings joy in your mind, some happiness in your mind. So you will then see that after doing that, you go and do the other work that you need to do. You are much more efficient because your mind has good energy because you have actually done an act of generosity, an act of sacrifice, maybe. Maybe you are really tired, as tired as everybody else because everybody's gone to work and come back on a tired day. But you took the initiative to be the one to do this thing, this service for your family. then it's incredible. So you sometimes notice that days that you should be really, really tired, you have lots of energy because you've done that. Yeah. And you also do everything else well. And there are other days, if you had that complaining, fault finding mind, you have really achieved very nothing but trouble and tiredness, and very grumpy and sad and failed in everything you did. So this is the thing. So it's about our attitude. So from the morning when you wake up, that's why Ajahn Brahm said, "Sipati Duda." I don't know what that means, but that's what he said. Jump out of your bed and say, "Sipati Duda." That's that attitude of laughing and smiling, and another joyous day to be creative, have fun, do what I can, achieve what I can, not achieve what I can. Don't fail in things so that I learn. So have that kind of attitude, then I think that stress and pressure is going to be released. And you will actually achieve more in life. And you will enjoy life, because the other thing, life is uncertain, isn't it? While we are in the middle of getting things out of our way so we can rest, we might die in that process. A bit terrible thing to die in a bad mind state, isn't it? So therefore, that is the other thing. So every day, every time, that idea of when we remember, it might be my last day, might be my last hour. It's going to be one day. Doesn't matter whether you're young or old, it happens to everybody. You just need to only, fall down and hit your head on the wrong spot and you're gone. It's very quick. Death happens very quickly. So therefore, once you bring in that idea of death can happen anytime, the stresses and pressures also relax. Because when you take away your future, the possibility of it not being there, you look at things in a different way. You still do your things, you still have plans. It's not like I might die, therefore I don't have to go to uni, I don't have to go to work, I don't have to do anything, I just lie in bed. Not like that, not at all. You continue, but once that idea of that future being taken away and the possibility of everybody else carrying on without you, you do things differently. You look at things differently because you suddenly becomes you're not indispensable, you are dispensable. Because this is where the pressure comes. Yeah, again, the pressure comes because you feel like you have to do these things because it affects everybody else. Others can't live without you. You got to do all of these things yourself. But sometimes when you get out of the way and you allow others to do, it actually works out better. But we feel like, we have to do all of these things. So once you have that idea of what happens if I die, is everybody else in your family also going to die because nobody else to look after and do the jobs that you are doing? No, they learn. Everybody's very adaptable. They continue on. So that means you can rest. You can allow other people to do. Also see how you can delegate things. There are things that it is okay to delegate if you and give other people joy to do. There are some people who would love to do that thing. If you can see somebody else wanting to do it, let them do it. It's our sense of self wanting to control and wanting to get it done exactly how I want it stops us from delegating, because you'd rather do it how you want it than somebody else do it not exactly how you want it. But when you think that it's all right, because you're aiming for 70%. And also there are many ways to achieve things. It's all right. It's done in a different way. So that also gives you a little bit more time. Yeah, so learn to give other people opportunities. And then you have a little bit more time as well for yourself. So you don't have to control and trust in other people to do. So you don't have to be micromanaging or be on top of everything all the time. Because we allow mistakes to happen. So it's okay. We have already decided that. So you leave it with them. If they make a mistake, no big deal. Yeah. What is money? Yeah, money comes and money goes. So you lose a little bit of money. You rather lose a bit of money than lose your mind. Yeah, because that's what happens. Otherwise, you get so worried and upset and angry, and you lose many more things. You lose your loved ones. That's the worst thing, when you're angry and when you shout at people, then you lose much more valuable things. Money loss is not a big deal because the pressure and stress comes also from that. And achievements and performances. You don't have to be number one. You don't have to be on top. It's all right to allow somebody else to be. Yeah, and not to judge ourselves and judge others. It's mostly judging ourselves is the problem for some people. Yeah, and meeting expectations. So if you see your children are having more stress and pressure because they feel that they need to perform, as parents, you can communicate that you love them the way they are. They don't have to prove themselves, achieve any one of those things to be your son or daughter. And children also can tell the parents that they don't have to be perfect either. If they lose their job, if they didn't do well, if they're depressed for a while, if they have trouble, that's all right. You are human. Because that's the other thing, right? As parents, also sometimes we have pressure to perform well, do well. So this is important. So acknowledging that we are all human, yeah, as yet unenlightened. Things happen. So accepting and allowing to be who we are rather than trying to be somebody else. Do what we can, then trying to do things that are difficult to achieve. Because that is again where the pressure and stress comes from. And along these same lines, also, when you have a little bit of time to rest, think about your life and see, do I need to do all the things that I'm doing? Are they all actually important? Do you have to do the way that you're doing? Or there are other ways of achieving the same thing? Because sometimes we waste a lot of time doing many things that are actually not necessary. Find out what these are. Every single one of us have these things. Also, we just do by habit certain things in a way. But there are other efficient ways of getting the same outcome. Take some time to make that change. So sometimes it's about making a whole lifestyle change. Even your house might need a bit of changing. The way your furniture is, all of that. When you rearrange and replan, it actually gives you time. Because it's really, really important to have time to relax, to rest, to have joy. If our whole life is running and being stressed and worrying, we are complete failures. Doesn't matter how many degrees, how much, what a big job you have, how much money you have, all those things that you achieve. Still, a complete failure if you can't rest, if you can't relax and enjoy your life, be peaceful. Yeah, so success in life becomes skilled at finding ways to rest, have time for yourself, and enjoy becoming peaceful, doing things that elevate your mind. For many people, this is difficult because they're doing too many things. Do you really need to do all of these things to live? What is this life? What does it mean? What is the meaning of your life? How do you want to live it? Where do you want to get? It's important to ask these questions. Sometimes when we were small, we didn't have this opportunity. We were told by our parents, we never had the time to stop. We just went from one to the other, never stopping back. Yeah. But it is important to sometimes stop and see, what am I doing? Is this important? And is this the way to do it? Is this what I want to live my life? Is this how I want to live my life? Younger people are very lucky because you already at starting, you can make good decisions. Even any one of us at any state, don't think it's too late now, I just continue on the way I've been doing. No, you can make change anytime, and to that much, you will achieve something useful. So it's really, really important that from time to time we take a step back and review. How am I going? How is my life going? What am I doing? Why am I doing these things? Is this helpful for myself? Is it actually bringing me joy? Is it bringing me peace? Because it's supposed to be everything that you're doing is to bring you joy and happiness, right? At the end of the day, that's what it is. But are you getting your joy and happiness, or are you reaping lots and lots of suffering? If you are being conned by the world, or you're heading in the wrong direction. Don't continue like that, because there's a much better way to live life. I'm not saying you have to ordain and become monks and nuns and live a spiritual life. No, just as in lay life too, you can live a very nice, successful, peaceful, joyous life and reduce that amount of depression, the amount of stress and worry. So the topic that was proposed by one person on the Zoom was how to practice while depressed. So there are different things that you can do. So like I said, we will be in different states. So we have to start from where we are at. So if we are at a state where our mind is more prone to depression and more down, which is true for a lot of us, then we have to find ways to bring up joy. So in here, you don't have to start with spiritual joy, because we can't straight away go into the spiritual, like you can't go and straight away meditate. And in fact, sometimes if you are depressed and have some mental health issues, meditation is not recommended. It's not the right thing to do. It's a wrong thing to do. So therefore, you have to be very honest with yourself. Have a review. Where am I at? And what do I need to do? I even recommend that you can go dancing. Sometimes music and dance, that activity, the movement of the body, endorphins coming in, the music triggers some happy spots, can actually bring you out. It's much better to do that than rather saying, oh, I am a meditator, I can't be dancing and music. I got to somehow watch my breath. Or I have to do metta. You're not going to be able to do metta when your mind is down, right? So you have to see, but don't do unwholesome things that are crazy in the world to make yourself happy, because they're actually not happy states. But a bit of dancing is not going to kill anybody. It's not immoral, that's all right. Or if you want to listen to some peaceful music, that's all right. Go for a walk. Go for a walk, go to the beach, enjoy the wind, go for a swim, go for a bike ride, whatever it is, yeah, or make something for somebody else. Like I used to get, you know what I used to do when I was a stressed out scientist coming home? I would make a very complicated, I take a very complicated recipe and make a very difficult dinner. And by the time I go through the recipe and make this very complicated food, all my stress goes. And of course, I invite somebody to come for dinner. And when they appreciate my food and when I give the food, I have so much joy. So I had lots of friends. Good way to have friends. Good way to stress release. And also good way to, these are all right. You all are still lay people, right? So you can do some skillful means, not to do the whole time. This is when it's really difficult. Yeah. So you have to know what's the right time to do which part. And other times you don't have to go singing and dancing. You are just okay with just sitting and sipping a cup of tea and watching the sky. Or you can just watch the breath, or you can watch the body, or there are many other things. So your mind and body will tell you what will uplift your mind. Sometimes it might be just listening to a very inspiring Dhamma talk, or even not inspiring Dhamma talk. Sometimes there are very inspiring stories that you hear from the world about people, things that they do. So sometimes it's nice to hear something like that, and it lifts your heart up. Or you can also think about your own goodness or the goodness of somebody else, that whatever nice thing that they have done. So there are many ways like this that we become skillful to lift our mind up. So this is what we need to do. And very important thing, another very useful thing is gratitude. Now, there has been some research. I can't give you the reference because I can't remember where I found this information. Maybe you can Google and find out that when they have done a brain scan for somebody who has taken antidepressants, the part that lights up is the same when you have gratitude in your mind. So antidepressants and gratitude works the same way. It lights up the same part of the brain. You don't have to take antidepressants if you're able to build up gratitude. And especially for us who are in such a privileged country like Australia, our lives is really, really well compared to so many millions of people in the world. So we forget, and that is why we reject all the beautiful things that come into our life and say, this is not good enough, and start complaining. But instead of complaining, you can also look how lucky we are, how many good things are happening in our life, We can say, oh, my health is not good, but there are so many other parts of your body still very good compared to many other people. Yeah, so many things. So gratitude is something that you have to actively cultivate, and you can become very creative how you become grateful. So you can even become grateful about having a pair of shoes. Who gave it to you? Or where did you get it? Whatever it is, even something simple like that. For us as monastics, there's so many things because every single little thing we have is a gift from somebody. So we can bring up that gratitude instead of taking for granted and even complaining why they gave this. Couldn't they give something better? Instead, you become very grateful for what you get. So gratitude is a really beautiful practice when the mind is down, to really look at the good that is in your life, what's going well for you. And every single one of us has many things going well for us in our lives. We forget to look at it. So when you do that, that is also very helpful, that your mind is up. So stresses and pressures are going to be dealt with easily. So a very beautiful practice that some of the monastics do is when they wake up in the morning, they bring up gratitude to the day. Or when they go to sleep at night, they think about all the things that happen and bring up gratitude. You can do both parts before going to bed and as you wake up as well. So this is, and the nice thing is, this is done through I think when the gratitude is happening, all the happy hormones come out, all the neurotransmitters, what are they? Dopamine and serotonin comes into your blood. They're very nice when you have dopamine and serotonin. They are mood activators. They are motivates you to do your work. You are enthusiastic. You got energy. You got all that oomph inside of it. It's a nice way to do anything, even the worst kind of job. If you do with these things in your body, you do it really well. So gratitude brings this out. And the good thing is it's retrainable. It's done through your prefrontal cortex in your brain. And once you form a habit, it's self-perpetuating. Yeah, it becomes a habit. So it becomes easy. It's only in the beginning that you have to make effort to do gratitude. After a while, it becomes second nature. But even if it becomes second nature, it doesn't stop the beautiful feelings. The moment you have it, you still have. So you have much more dopamine and much more serotonin in your life. And that's actually very, very helpful. This is now off the topic, but a side dish for you, since we were talking about neurotransmitters. That's something that I heard from one of the people who's in the room about a research article about why some people are monogamous and polygamous. And polygamy is a problem, right? I mean, human beings are a polygamous species, but we have taken conventions to live a monogamous life, right? So, but right now in the world, this is a big problem, especially with all the social media and everything. access to human beings have become so easy. So therefore, there's a lot of problems in life. Lots of people come up to me, especially young people, say that this is such a kind of terrible thing, that it is so common now. Why? So when dopamine is high in your brain, you are more inclined to being monogamous. When the dopamine levels are down, you tend to be more polygamous. This research was done on monogamous species, like bird species, like there's penguins, there are parrots, there are lots of bird species. They also become couples, like there's, they're for life. So the dopamine levels are high. It also makes sense because when you are happy, when you have many other things to keep your mind happy, your relationship, you're happy and satisfied with your relationship. When the dopamine levels are down, means you have much more unhappiness in your life. So you seek for other excitements. And that is why. So even all that addiction to all the TikTok and whatever, 10-second things, I've never seen them, so I don't know what they are, but I see in the train people doing like this all the time. It's the anticipation of the next one gives you a dopamine hit. So you get addicted to that dopamine hit, and that's why you do it, because they're useless things, but still you want to do it. Yeah, that's that addiction. But there's much better ways to have much more sustaining dopamine levels, and that is by developing gratitude. Yeah, that's one of them. Compassion, metta, all of those mind states bring up good hormones in your body. And you become self-sufficient. You feel good within. You're not dependent on other people and other things. Because this is also where the mind is down. Yeah, when the mind is down, affected by not having enough affection, not having enough love in your life, and all of those things. Because you expect them from outside. But outside is uncontrollable. It's not within your control, right? It's much better to become independent and find your happiness from within. You have your own resources. Your body comes built in with these things. So learn how to get your own medication, if you like. Yeah, from within. So these are a few of the things that I would like to share. And any questions, comments, agreements, disagreements? Did anything make sense? Yeah. Is it doable, what I mentioned? Can you apply some of these things to your life?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. What do you think at other times you can't?
Think we can, but distractions,
I think it's because we don't want to. Do you know human nature? Human beings like to suffer. They like to live in their poo. I don't know whether you know Ajahn Brahm's worm inside the poo, like in the dung. We like our pile of dung. That's the main problem. We like our old ways and being stressed and being depressed and like that. We know there's a way out, but we feel comfortable in our troubled world, stressed world. So sometimes that awareness itself is helpful to get out of it. Yeah, we are complicated, so what to do, but as much as possible, when you do it, it becomes a habit. It's a good way to live life. So everybody is quiet online as well. So then, shall we call it a day? Yeah. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. I'll stop the recording.